Welcome to Chat Night, we bring you good vibe, we shine on the light. Welcome to Chat Night, we bring you good vibe, we shine on the light. We all over the world, Chat Night Africa. We all over the world, Chat Night Africa. Welcome to Chat Night, we bring you good vibe, we shine on the light. Welcome to Chat Night, we bring you good vibe, we shine on the light. We all over the world, Chat Night Africa. We all over the world, Chat Night Africa. Welcome to Chat Night, the only place that we give you good vibes. Chat Night Africa. Welcome to Chat Night, all over the world we are shining the light. Chat Night Africa. Welcome to Chat Night.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of Family Matters on Chat Night Africa. My name is Divine Chamokong. As the world marks International Women's Day 2026 under the theme Give to Gain, the focus is on generosity, collaboration, and investing in opportunities for women and girls. But this idea of giving to gain also plays out in every relationship every day, especially in marriage. So, what does it mean to intentionally give support, respect, and space for each other to grow? And how can that spirit of reciprocity strengthen the home? Ladies and gentlemen, joining us tonight is Dr. Doreen Fobi Takusi, a certified coach, marriage and parenting counselor, and pastoral leader. She is the founder of Positive Overcomes, where she helps individuals and families grow personally and relationally. Dr. Doreen Fobi Takusi is also the creator of Abigail Framework, a transformational program empowering women to arise, believe, ignite their purpose, grow, accomplish their goals, invest in themselves, and lead with impact. Ladies and gentlemen, join me now in giving her an applause of welcome. Dr. Doreen, thank you for accepting to come on the hot seat to take some really, I would call them very controversial questions. Are you ready for this?
I am absolutely ready. And thank you again for always having me here.
Let's dive into it.
Yes.
Every day across the globe, there are celebrations marking the International Women's Day. Doreen, should there also be a Men's International Day? And if yes, what for?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was talking about that earlier today with a couple of friends and my family. Of course, there need to be an International Men's Day, right? Not because we want to compete, because the women have a Women Day, so the men, we have to have a Men Day. Let me just take a few steps back why we have a Women's Day. Women's Day was because women felt like they were not visible, they were not seen, they were not heard. So that's the foundation of the Women's Day. But now men also need a men's day. These men, they work hard. I'm such an advocate for the men in our community, right? A home is not healthy if the man is not healthy. A home is not healthy if a man is not intact. So having a men's day is just not going to be to celebrate them, but to talk about men empowerment. If you go to Facebook, even every day, regardless of Women's Day, there's always a women empowering something going on. A women empowering meeting, a women empowering gathering. Do you see any of those for men? Not that much, right? So I think that having a time to really identify the struggles behind the scene, because men don't talk, they're not as emotional as we are. So it seems like they're not doing a lot of work, but they absolutely are. So I definitely think that we should really find time to really recognize them. And one thing, it might just be because of the way they were raised. They don't know how to really express their emotion or manage their emotions. So they hold a lot back. And we, as their wives, as women, as their mothers, as their sisters, please, let's put our heads together and find time to celebrate this man.
International Women's Day has as theme give to gain. The goal being to focus on a mindset of generosity, collaboration, and shared progress to accelerate equality. Dr. Doreen, it appears awkward that between couples, that should even be an issue.
It is awkward, but again, it comes with awareness and understanding, right? When they say give to gain, what do we mean by that? I think the society has narrowed the word giving to financial giving, right? A couple needs more than income. They need presence, they need communication, they need time, right? So give to gain, it's not like you're just giving. Giving in a marriage is an investment, it's building, it's putting things together. You know, the Bible says that for he loved the world that he gave. For God to love the world that he gave. So giving is the foundational piece. And again, it's not only income, it's just your presence. It's just you listening. It's just you running back from work early to spend that 1 hour time with your spouse before you go to bed. So I think that it is something that is very vital for the uplift of our community and for our marriages, for our home.
In terms of what do people talk of equality that's between husband and wife when at the same time they call the man head of the household?
So we have to step back and ask ourselves that is head of the household the same as equality? Those are two different lingos, two different words, right? Equality, we are equal in our own ways. We are equal in God's eyes. We are equal in our own value. We are all equal in several different ways. The head of the household is the leadership of the home, is the one that is the leadership of the home. And I'm here to agree that yes, our husbands from the foundations of the earth, they are the head of the household, but that doesn't make us not to be equal. So those are two different terms that we have to make sure that we are using it appropriately. The head of the household involves leadership, responsibility, taking ownership, listening, making sure there's peace, there's stability at home. But it doesn't make the woman feel like a silenced vessel or a lesser value being. So those are two different terms. So yes, the man is the head, but we are both equal.
Does the notion of head of household require the man to be the bigger giver?
Yes, it is, but there are circumstances that is the notion in quote. It means that they should be the bigger giver, right? But again, the uniqueness of each home is different. I must say that. And giving, what does that entail? Is it giving money? A man gives time. A man gives leadership. A man gives presence. A man gives protection. A man gives peace. So, yes, the man has to protect the family. The man has to bring peace, emotional stability in the home. Yes, that's the leadership. That's the headship. It's not about ego. It's not about control. It's about you leading your family in the right direction.
Can a marriage, Doreen, truly thrive if giving is one sided?
It's not sustainable. Is not sustainable, and this is going to lead to resentment in the long run. What do I mean by that is if a spouse is constantly the one giving, most of the time they are doing that hoping and praying that their spouse, husband or wife, will change and recognize and see and be alert and know that, hey, I have to do the same thing too. But after some time, it is not sustainable. It will result to burnout. They'll be very, very resentful. They will not want to be there. So I really truly believe that it's a partnership of communication and both parties need to give. Not it doesn't have to be 50-50. Let me tell you a story. One of my friends told me that when they get home, they ask their husband, how many percentage do you have today? They say 80. He say, okay, I'll do 20. So it depends on the time. Sometimes you get home and the day has been so long and you have 10% to give. Some days you have 100% to give. Some days you have 50% to give, right? So it's a two-way street. It's collaboration. It's working together. Because if one person is giving, I'm telling you, eventually we're going to be in court because it will lead to a lot of resentment. I've seen that happen all the time.
Is generosity in marriage a strength, or do some people see it as a weakness?
It's actually a strength. It's a good strength if both parties are doing it. If you wake up every morning, your wife wakes up every morning and say, "How can I make my wife? I want her to have the best day ever." And the husband wakes up every morning, "What can I do for my wife to have the best day ever?" The husband says, "What can I give my wife to make her happy?" The wife says, "What can I give my husband to make him happy?" Right? Generosity is the best thing if it's happening with both parties. So it's a strength to make the couple, the home stronger. You're a role model to your kids. Your kids are seeing you being generous to one another. Remember, I always say leadership begins at home. Your kids see you and they know that. But when it's just one person that is overwhelmingly generous, overwhelmingly doing everything, is a very unhealthy situation, and it can really lead to toxicity in the relationship because that person can eventually become very, very bitter.
Talk to me. Moments ago, you said you've seen instances where one sided giving has led to people going to the divorce court. Be practical. How so?
Because if one person is just selfish, right? One person can be selfish. And to be honest with you, marriage is an institution that you grow every day. You start the way I met my husband 20 years ago and who he is right now is a different person because you grow. Your mind is changing, your body is changing, everything about you is changing. So it's good to grow together. And if one person is into, let's say, personal development and growth, and there is no communication, one person can overgive. They can overgive their time. They can overgive their presence. They can overgive the peace. They can overgive the finances, the love. It's not reciprocated. It is not. And then they will get counseling. They'll try to get attention from their spouses. And if they are not getting it, after some time, they'll get tired and the environment will become very toxic. So it has to absolutely be a two-way street. A lot of women can stay there, like we have Africans who stay there because of our kids. Believe it or not, right now in the United States, as I speak to you right now, the divorce rate among Cameroonians that I know, a counsel, I speak to them, is higher after their kids go to college.
But Doreen, these are people who at one point in life could not live, so they said, without the other.
Right.
How is it that you even get to start talking about greed? What fuels greed between husband and wife?
Selfishness, I first about they love each other, right? Marriage is not love. Marriage is a choice. Marriage is a decision that you make to wake up every day and be in this collaboration with this person. Because every day you're not going to wake up and like that person. There's some days that I wake up, I'm like, who is this man? You want to run away because personalities will show up, the differences will show up. Remember, the way you were raised and the way I was raised, two different homes, two different family dynamics coming together in one home. So you have to make up that choice to wake up every day and decide to love, decide to be here. But if after some time it is not reciprocated, if after some time you keep giving 80% and 80%, and your partner is just not there, is not willing to talk, is not willing to communicate, is overwhelmed by selfishness to think about themselves, ego, it is going to lead to somebody running away from that home. So a lot of people right now, what they're doing is that they're thinking about the kids. They will stay there, they will stay there. And when the kids get out of school, that's why you see them, they're gone. 50-year-old divorce in America is going high. They're divorcing almost every single day.
So, what changes people in America and Europe? I mean, is it the environment, or people just get to reveal who they have always been when they were in Africa?
You understand, in America, the dynamics is a little different, right? In America, I remember when my mom came here, my husband was in the kitchen making okra. My mom almost like was about to like, what are you doing? Why are you sitting down? Go to the kitchen and stuff like that. The dynamics from Africa is different. I don't remember my dad ever even doing the dishes. But if you come here, some days I walk in, I'm super tired. It's partnership. You see, my husband will be there, making his okra. I'll be doing the dishes. We have 5 kids. Somebody's picking up this one, somebody's picking that one when the kids were growing. But in Cameroon, honestly, they have house help, they have this, labor is cheap, so they can afford it. But over here, we're in a position where we have to work, we have to pay the bills, and we have to take care of the kids. So it's really important here now to really collaborate with each other. If not, somebody's going to get burnt out. So the love is just to, they say love is blind, marriage will open your eyes. That's exactly what is going to happen.
I was just surprised because you said marriage is not love, it's commitment. So I was going to ask you to draw the distinction between the two.
Yeah, marriage is commitment. Love is part of it. But let me tell you, only love can never sustain a marriage. It's a decision that you wake up every day, because through the journey of marriage you're going to have issues, you're going to have miscommunications, you're going to have trials, you're going to have tribulations, you're going to start seeing the person. I don't care how you love yourself, there'll be a day that you wake up and be like, who in the world is this woman that I'm married to? Who in the world is this man that I'm married to? What kind of personality is this? Ego will set in, selfishness will set in, miscommunication will set in. So if you're not intentional to make up your mind that this is where I want to be, you will get out. So it's love. Maybe that's the spark that started it, but it's a decision, a choice to stay present and sustain it.
Intentionality, that's the word. Dr. Doreen Forbita Kusi, in many homes, women give emotionally. What are men gaining and what should they be giving back?
That's a really extremely good question, because I want to say women don't only give emotionally, right? We give more than that. We balance, we nurture, we communicate with the family members, we communicate with the friends, we take care of the kids, we come home, we are calling, we are multitasking on the most part. Men, they do some, but they can be present, right? They benefit because maybe that phone call that the man was supposed to make to maybe this in-law or that meeting, the woman already took care of it. But we need our husbands to be present. We need our husband to listen. We need that communication. We need that time. We need to feel like we are also heard. But I think that there is a big misunderstanding that the men they don't have emotions. They really do. They really do. And that's why I was talking about we need some kind of a men's day or men empowering session. Because when I sit and I talk to couples, men are hurting. They're going through a lot, but they don't have that platform or that safe space to go and talk to. They don't know how to, they don't know if I should say this, she'll get upset. Is her period on? Or if she's menopausal, estrogen level is so high, she will be mad at me. Or should I do this? So they're holding a lot inside of them. And then when they come home, the expectations are right there. And that's why they start having side chicks and all of that. So I think that as we're using the word emotions right here, the women have to be very, very cautious of the fact that, yes, we are giving emotions. And men also we need to validate their emotions, because that is really, really important. Because behind the scenes, they are working hard. They are working hard to make sure that kids are taken care of, the home is taken care of, bills are paid too. But they just might not be as vocal as we are, or as physical with their emotions as we are, but they do have that emotions. So men are getting that peace, but what can they give? Give us that presence, give us that ear. Talk to us. We are here. We should be your peace when you come home. Be free to talk to us. And women should really avail themselves to also listen.
Dr. Doreen, listen, when people are dating, they talk about everything and anything. I'll assume that.
Hopefully.
So, what should happen? Again, we come back to this issue of communication. What makes it that at some point somebody's walking on eggshell? Why? What happens along the line?
Because they've tried so many times and then they become resentful. They've tried so many times and they've given so many times and they've done so many things that when a woman stops talking in a marriage, I'm telling you, be careful. That is not a good sign. Because before a woman gets to a point where she doesn't want to address anything, she doesn't want to, she's silenced, means that she has tried. She has called uncle, auntie, she has called counselors. Before she even called uncle, auntie, counselor, she's tried to talk to you several times. Same for men, though. After some time, the man will say, I'm not talking anymore. She's not listening. That's when resentment sets in and they're just doing the minimum required for the day to come to an end. Right? The Bible says, can two walk together if they don't agree? So if you don't intentionally, like I was using the word choice, and being intentional will preserve your home. If you're not intentional in communicating, if you're not intentional to say, you know what, we are not going to bed upset, regardless of what, I'm not going to sleep in the couch and sleep in the room. If you're not intentional to say, you know what, let's address this, it will keep piling. It will keep piling. It will keep piling to a place where you don't want to see each other. And you're just there coping as if you guys care about each other.
Men, listen to this. When a wife says, whatever, that's
It won't
loaded.
matter.
That's
Yeah,
loaded. Very soon, one person will be sleeping in the couch, in the living room, or worse still, in the basement.
right.
Let's move on. You are watching a special edition of Family Matters as we celebrate, as the world celebrates International Women's Day 2026. My guest on the show is Dr. Doreen Fobi Takusi. If one spouse carries the emotional load, is that love or imbalance?
So it's kind of both, right? And I always tell people we have to go to the root cause as to a why, because you cannot really generalize these things, especially with our African men. What I've noticed is that they don't know how to love, especially in a home that the woman was raised with love. You understand? For me, I would use myself as an example how it was really hard for my husband to really express the love for me because I grew up being daddy's girl, mommy's there, daddy's there, and I saw that love. And then when I got married, I was expecting that love that I saw, it was supposed to happen that same way. Then after some time, I'm like, no, I cannot expect so much of from this man because first of all, he's not my dad. You understand what I'm saying? We need to pause and look back before you start getting upset at your wife or your husband. You need to look back at where they are coming from. A lot of us need to heal from things that happened to us in the past. And if we don't take time to heal, we will bring those things into our homes and our marriages. A lot of marriages are suffering right now because of what happened in mom's house and dad's house when they were younger, when they were growing. So they come with that expectation to their mom's house. Most of the men don't trust the women. Some of the women don't trust the men, not because they are not trustable. It's just because their parents never trust each other. The father was always cheating, or the father was never there. So they never had that role model to really show them what a house should look like. So there's a balance, but it should be the uniqueness of that specific couple. That's why when I have couples, I do something called this analysis, where I kind of study their thought pattern. I do some questionnaires to see how they communicate, and I use that to show the spouses this is how your wife communicates, this is how you communicate. Let's collaborate this way because the personalities are different. So what is love? What is love? How is
And
it expressed?
and and that's the question. When you say African men don't know how to love, and I've heard this from so many women. Doreen, what do you mean?
So not that they don't know how to love, they might not be as affectionate. They love, but they don't know how to show it. You understand what I'm saying? They don't know
You,
how to
do, do,
show
do,
it.
do you mean opening the door of the car for the wife? Do you mean buckling the wife's shoes? What do you put meat on this?
Well, that would be very nice. That's romantic. I would love for that to happen. I would love for my husband to open my door. He should, and tie my lace or zip up my outfit. That's amazing, right?
So
But
if he did not do it, would that mean he doesn't love you?
no, I cannot rate. That's unfair to the man, right? That is very unfair to the man because it's either he doesn't know. So you can teach them how to love. You can teach them your expectations. You can teach them your boundaries. You can tell them what love looks like for you. And if the man genuinely loves you and cares about you, they will abide. There are some days that I'm going out, I'm not opening my door. Even if you forget, I remind you, door, come open the door. I'm not opening this door. And then my husband will be like, hey, mommy Doreen. I'm like, yeah, come on, open the door.
Listen to this. You better not do this when your mother-in-law is around. Otherwise, she'll say you've pocketed her son. Is that right?
No, the good thing is that me and my mother-in-law, thank God, we are very cool. But my mom actually will be telling me that what did my mom say one time she was here? That what I'm doing is an abomination because she's not seen a woman telling the man, "I'm not entering the car. Come on, open this door." You know, because I have to teach him how to love me. I have to teach him how to value me, right? So I think that our men, they love, but they don't know how to show it. And it's us to teach them what we expect of them, and also for them to teach us what they expect of us. So
They
that,
don't know how to show it, or they don't want to show it. And here's why I'm asking you the question.
Mhm.
What would you say? What's your response to men who say, why is the man, or why should the man cross the river for a woman, or cross the seas for a woman who is not willing to cross the river? What's your response?
then there's not that's not a marriage. You
They're
have to just
roommates.
look at, yeah, they're roommates. That's not a marriage. They're roommates and they have a paper that is signed. Right? I always say when you start asking those questions, you go back to the foundation. You look yourself soul to soul, eyeball to eyeball. Sometimes when I'm talking to my husband, he's, one thing we also taught back home, out of respect, don't look at people in their eyes when you're talking to them. But I'm very intentional when I'm talking to couples. I make them turn around. I make them to look at each other, right? And talk to each other. This is how you made me feel. And you have to validate that person's feeling, even if it's not correct, even that's not your perception. That is their perception. That is how they feel. And that needs to be validated. So before you go on making the assumption of, why should I do this for her when she cannot do this, you have to be able to create a safe space for her or you to have that conversation. I'm very intentional not to say just men because women do that too, right? We have to create that safe space to come and talk, but we don't. And until we know that communication is key and vital, we are going to live in resentment and even die. I've seen couples that have been living until they are not here anymore when they don't really care about each other, but they stayed married and they posted pictures on Facebook.
Facebook. Here's what I tell my friends or my followers on Facebook. Look, don't go burn down your house because you saw something looking so romantic on Facebook. Don't do it. Do not do it. Do not do it. You are watching Dr. Doreen Fobi Takusi. At some point, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to open the phone line. Take note of the phone number 240 603 7367. 240 603 7367. If you're outside of the United States, you can call via WhatsApp 001 and then you take the rest of the numbers. Dr. Doreen, you used a word, validate. It sounded in my ears like the phone line. Gratitude. Like gratitude. Am I correct?
Yes,
Expressing gratitude.
yes, very important. Little things that we do every single day. Thank you. How is your day going? I appreciate you today. Thank you for taking the trash out. We are women, we get entitled with this men and they work hard too, right? So you just telling that, hey baby, I really appreciate you taking the trash out for me. It goes a long way. Or you get to work and you text your husband and say, wow, thank you so much. I woke up this morning and realized that you had coffee already made for me. Daily check-ins, midday check-ins. How are you? Thank you. I appreciate you. Out of nowhere, text her and say, you know what? I was just thinking how my life would have been without you. And thank you for being here. And thank you for our amazing kids. Just the little things that we do come together to make a puzzle beautiful. Those are the little.
I'm going to give you a different name on the show today. Snake Charmer.
What does that mean?
It means what it means. Dr. Doreen Fobi Takusi. I'm going to ask Doreen one question. When she responds, now the phone line will be open. And please take note, if you are going to dial in, once I pick up the phone, turn down the volume of anything you are listening, any listening device so that around you, so that we have a clean call, so that the universe can hear you and hear you loud and clear. Let me give the number again, 240 603 7367. 240 603 7367. I can't Do you know what? I can't imagine who wouldn't want to watch this show now and later. I can't imagine one. Know this, know what she's saying, and know peace in your home. If you have children who are going to be married, this is a classroom. If you're already married, well, there isn't anything that, as far as I know, that cannot be improved upon. Let's continue. Dr. Doreen Fobita Kusi, what happens when both parties intentionally outgive each other?
Oh wow, that is amazing. That's the best. That's the best relationship ever. The husband waking up every morning. What can I do to make? Again, when we talk about giving, again, I want to make it us very know that it's not income, right? It can be your time, your presence, a coffee, protection, peace, your listening, communication, right? When both parties are intentional to say, hey, today, what can I make Emmanuel's day the best day ever? Or Doreen wakes up and say, or Emmanuel say, what can I make Doreen this day be the best day ever? Can you imagine how that relationship would be? Amazing, right? If you're doing it from a good place, if you're not doing it to manipulate, again, intentionality and being authentic is really key to the way we move. Because if you're doing that to outgive because you want to prove a point, you want to compete, you want to show that, oh, you did it yesterday, I can do it more, then that is not coming from a clean place. And I'm telling you, the way the world is, it's not going to yield those positive outcomes. Okay. So if they are both doing it from a good place, that's amazing. That's the best relationship ever. I'm taking the kids to dance. I'm taking my son to soccer. They're out giving each other, and the kids are seeing it, and they're being great role models. But if you're doing that just to show this person that you did that, I can do it more, that's when competition and it's not, the energy is not going to be a good one. And then you piggyback it and you use it against your spouse when you guys are arguing. Remember, because people do that. I've seen couples that have done things for each other and banked it. So that when they're arguing, they'll pull it and say, you know what, I did this day, and I did this on this, and I did this on this. So you're not doing it with good intentions. You're doing it for a particular reason, and AKA that's manipulation, AKA that's hypocrisy. But if you're doing it from a good place, that's a good thing.
And now the phone number is available. Somebody's asking for it. Take note. Hear it again. 240-603-7367. 240-603-7367. Once I pick up the call, stay silent, then I will announce you. And once I also pick up the call, take note, listen to this very well, turn down all the listening devices around you and only talk to me like you were talking, you were having a phone conversation. I would love what you say, the questions you ask Dr. Doreen Fobita-Kusi to be heard clearly around the world. You are watching Family Matters on Chat Night Africa. My name is Divine Nchamuka. While we wait for the calls to come in, Dr. Doreen, does give to gain mean rethinking traditional gender roles in marriage? And what happens when a wife earns more than her husband, who is the head of the household?
So the first part is not rethinking roles. A man stays the head. A man from the foundations of the earth, from in the Bible, the man remains the head, and the head doesn't mean control and ego. So that place for a man stays there, ladies. I want to say that we cannot change that. That's what God made it, and that's how it is. So we respect them. We're going to support them. We're going to do everything because we are a helpmeet. We come to the relationship. Can you imagine God loves you so much to send his son? Sometimes when my husband, because he does get on my nerves, when I'll look at him again, I'll be like, this man. Then I'll just remember that God chose him to give me. It will just calm me down to be more graceful, to support him, right? Because the Bible says they knew that this man cannot do it on their own. We are multitasker. We are the one doing this. So their place remains the same. So that's the first. Now, if it happens that the woman earns more, it's a good thing because, again, it's a unit. It's one team with one goal. It doesn't matter who is earning more money and than who. The dynamics are different. Couples have left Cameroon when one used to be a director on the house, the wife was at home. The wife gets here, works as a cybersecurity. The husband is still going to school to get a PhD. So it's one team with one goal. What the couple needs to do is that, okay, now that I'm going to school and you have a job, let's plan. So the wife is giving income, the husband is giving peace, the husband is giving protection, the husband is giving presence. So when we use the word giving, we have to be intentional as to what the giving mean. So is that agreement that we come together and decide, and that will make the couple on the whole really, really strong.
How can men give space for women's ambition without feeling diminished? Here is why I'm asking you this question. I know of friends out of state, in other states outside Maryland, who got so pissed off because Madame was going in for a PhD program and it began to feel like a threat.
So I would say, I think that if you have a wife, for example, I'm going to use myself as an example. And I think my number one best supporter in my life has been my husband, right? If you have a wife, your goal is to make her shine to fulfill purpose and destiny. And the goal for the wife is to do the same thing for the man. Everybody is unique in different ways. If that is adding value, if that is not taking away from, unless it's for selfish reasons, if the man is upset, we need to find out exactly. When they come to me, I want to know why. It might be some unresolved issues. It might be the wife's attitude. Because I'm telling you, I've seen some of the women that have gone and become doctors, and they are different personalities when they come home towards their husbands. So I don't generalize and I don't blame. The first thing we need to do is to find out, why is the husband behaving the way the husband is behaving? Was it a decision that they decided together? If they decided together, or was it not the right timing? Because women, we are multitasker. We can do 20 things at the same time, but we want to make sure that it aligns with that institution of marriage. The man, on the other hand, you have to intentionally support your wife, make her flourish, make her glow. My last conference, I'm telling you, I had a lot of negative comment when the last day of the conference, my husband came and knelt down and helped me. And it was not normal. Why is he kneeling down, and stuff like that? Because he was just saying that I cherish you for being there for me, and I also cherish him for being there for me. It's a collaboration, not negating the fact that he's the head. Because if he was not there to support me, if he was not there to take care of the kids, if he was not there to give me the money that I need, I will not be able to do the conference, travel the world, and do everything that I needed to do. He's not called a doctor. I am called the doctor, but nobody knows what he's doing behind the scenes. So when that usually happens, we need to find out, is it an ego issue? Is it a personality issue? Is it a conflict? Is it something? Because we need to know exactly why the husband is feeling that way. That way, we are able to solve them. One goal is that we are trying not to cause divorce. We're trying to amend. We are trying to talk to them so that they can come to an agreement.
Forgive me, I ask you this personal question. You say your husband, and I know Emmanuel, brother Emmanuel, very well. He supports you to shine. Isn't it? Isn't he worried that you could outshine him when he should be the head of the household?
No, I think when I shine, he shines. Right? I'm not even funny. His siblings, will tell me all the time, before I go out, half of my what I wear, my things, he bought them for me. Because when your wife is shining, you are shining. So it's the foundation of the relationship. When a man start thinking it's not a good place, means competition is setting into the relationship, which is not good, right? Because when your husband is shining, you're shining. When your wife is shining, you are shining. Because like me, I don't like going to the store. I don't like buying anything, even for myself. But he is the one that is into fashion and entertainment, so he will make me shine. He will make me take the classes. He will make me do the presentation, and he will just sit back unless he's doing his music thing. So
You know why? You know what? I know why. Your husband is into entertainment business, and he doesn't want to be there on the stage, and Madame Doreen is looking like coming from the farm.
now I was already beautiful before I got married. I was not looking like a fan before I got
I
married.
was just pulling your legs,
I
woman.
know, I
Now,
know.
somebody is sitting there. Somebody is sitting there and saying, just give us some nuggets. What small daily acts of giving build long term marital gain? Talk to the people out there.
I can give you an example. I can talk to the men and then I can talk to the women, right? I know for me, before I get home, sometimes my husband said he would tell me that I prepared your mind. That's why you're coming home so happy. Because like around breakfast, it's like checking, oh babe, how are you? How is your day? I just want to tell you that I really thank you for being in my life. Believe it or not, if you're tense that day, just reading that kind of a text from your spouse, it will make you smile. Okay. If you have a meeting, if you know that she's been stressed out, talking about the meeting at work and da, 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 how did your meeting go? You get home early, I'm already home. What do you want us to do for dinner? By the way, I just thought about you and I want to tell you that I love you. Thank you for last night. It was one of the best we did. Little things like that will put a smile on the woman's face. Same for the woman. Honey, you look really stressed this morning. How can I help? Do you want to talk? Can you call me during your lunch break if you want to talk? If not, it's okay. Just those daily check-in or just saying, I'm grateful. I am so grateful. Picking up his things from the dry cleaners. I see that you're really tired. I've picked up your clothes from the dry cleaners. Because in America, marriage becomes very transactional if you're not very careful. And that is why when kids are grown and kids leave the house, people start like, nah, this is not working. This is not going right. This is nah, we're not meant to be together. I'm 50 years old now. I want to live my life. I'm authentic. There's this new thing about living authentic thing, women empowering, and I have to be me. I have to do me. It's self love, self all of that. It's good, but I'm telling you, it's messing up a lot of homes. Why? Because the foundation was not strong. So
You,
do
you just said that in the United States and Europe, in other words, outside Africa, if people are not careful, marriage could become very transactional. Shine light on that.
Yes, because you wake up in the morning, like say, let me start with my house, right? 5K
Okay.
in the morning, we wake up in the morning. Who is dropping Yannick? Who is dropping Yazin? Where's Naomi going? Who is going for ballet? Who is taking soccer? Who is going for lacrosse? Come back. Oh, pick up aftercare. Come back home. Did we pay this bill? Did she pay that bill? It's bedtime. You are constantly living in autopilot. In the morning, you're busy transacting with the kids, breakfast, you go to work, you come back home in the evening, dinner, homework, you sleep, wake up in the morning, the same thing Sunday, you go to church, autopilot. And then you become so overwhelmed without knowing it. And if you're not intentional to make time with each other, guess what happens? There's a gap. 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 You know why there's a gap? We have to be very intentional that that gap is being filled by something else. It might be filled by a coworker that you just sit and talk. Oh my God, I'm so tired. My husband doesn't even help me at home. Oh my God, when I come home, all my wife does is complaining. Because the home become autopilot, become transactional. There's no time for fun, no time for laughter. So you have to schedule. I remember when the kids were younger, we would schedule go to Jamaica every 3 months, if you can. If you cannot, take a walk in the park, go to downtown Baltimore and just walk around. You have to be intentional to schedule those date nights, the things that you guys will just sit and communicate because the life in Europe and America is extremely transactional.
There's a gap. There's a gap. There's a gap. And very soon that gap becomes a lake.
That's exactly right. It becomes a big lake. And when it becomes a lake, it's hard to remediate.
Okay. And the number again is 240 603 7367. 240 603 7367. And I see a question from Omar of Showtime Rashada. Good evening, great show. My question for the guest: when a woman says she wants a man to protect me, that's the direct quote. Can the guest specify as to what women mean? That can you, Madam Mama Doreen, specify what women mean when they say they want to be protected?
You
Thank you,
know,
Mildred. Mildred Edem has posted the number. I'll put it on the screen. Meanwhile, you can go on and respond.
yeah, no, you know what, Omar? The fun is that I've said the same thing to my husband, so I want to feel protected. And you know what that means? It means a good hug. It means to lie on your chest and feel like somebody is holding you. Protection is not like you have guns. It's a feeling. It's a feeling of security. It's a feeling of love. It's a feeling of presence. It's a feeling knowing that you're here. If something is wrong, I know that you're going to be there for me, right? When a woman is crying that I want to feel protected, they are crying that I don't feel loved. I don't feel in your presence. I don't feel like if something happens to me, you'll be there for me. So there are some days that I just sleep. I just say, oh my God, thank God, I'm just in peace. Just the hug, just sleeping on your chest gives me that kind of peace. But if the house is in autopilot to a place where you cannot really hold, even to tell your wife, when a woman, I love you, look at her eyeball to eyeball, I'm here for you, I'm there for you. Sometimes that's all we need to hear. We feel safe. Unfortunately, the way God created a man and a woman, women, we are very, very emotional. The men, they are transactional, they're logical in their approach, right? So once we understand that, we think and feel things different, where you understand that protection is not that there's a gun, it's just your present. I will tell you, Omar, if you're married, just go and give your wife that good hug today and say, you know what? I want you to know I love you and I'm here for you. It is a game changer.
Wow, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. Here's what you can do. You, everybody watching this show, share it, send it to your friends. Let your adult children or teenagers even watch this, because this is family. This content is very family friendly. Because one day they'll get married, and it seems to me, Dr. Doreen Fobi Takusi, people understand marriage as just having a good-looking woman in bed, a good-looking guy in bed, sharing the same bedroom, and that's all there is to marriage. No, you have to learn all these social skills. Okay, thanks for your response, Omar response, and
You're welcome.
reacts. So there's a lot that make marriage work, and just not having a cute guy or a cute woman in your home. Very soon, this thing could turn so bitter. Like Doreen was saying, you get it one day and you're wondering what even sent you into this arrangement. So that's why we are doing this show. Let's continue. But before I continue, this is what I have to tell you. Very good. My name is Divine Charmukong. I'm anchoring this broadcast from Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. Doreen, does sharing household responsibilities strengthen or weaken a marriage?
Of course, it definitely strengthens a marriage. It definitely does, especially us Africans in the diaspora, where help is not readily available as it is back home. When I traveled to Cameroon, I was like, wow, I want to move here because, you can pay labor is not that expensive. But here, intentionally sharing the responsibility, even if you don't have to, is collaboration. Those that work in corporate America, we talk about team development meetings where we go and we have our teams to do some kind of task or skills together. It builds collaboration, it builds communication. Be very intentional on Saturday to cook together, be very intentional on Saturday maybe to go to groceries together. That is when the autopilot, you break the autopilot throughout the week of work, go to work, come back, sleep, dinner, sleep, right? So it definitely build a strong, strong bond. And if you come home and you see that your wife is just overwhelmed, just say, you know what, I'm going to bed the kids tonight so you can rest. Same goes for the wife. If you see that your husband is used to doing something, carrying the trash out or something, and you're able to do it, so you know what, let me do it today, honey. You just rest. And we have to be intentional with the timing. Don't come when they're watching their football game or when they're doing something and nag and stuff like that. A man will not come home to a nagging wife. A man will look for every reason to go to a happy hour and hang out with his friends than to come home because they know that the moment they open the door, they're coming to no peace.
They're entering a shutdown.
Yes.
I told you about Doreen. I told you about Doreen. Anyway, listen, guys, folks, if you think you love what you're watching, stay around. And I will be right back with Doreen. The questions that she's going to answer are going to keep you perched on your seat's edge. Watch out for what's going to come on after this 1 minute jingle. My name is Divine Chamukong. I'm in Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. I will be right back in just a minute.
Just nice Africa. 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 Just Africa. Just nice Africa. Top night Africa.
Yeah, Chat Night Africa, Africa's voice to the world. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands once more together and let's welcome our august guest in the month of March. All right. This is going to be the better part of the show. Doreen, what does a growth mindset look like in a marriage? What does a spouse do to calm the nerves of their partner when success is beginning to feel threatening? I know you answered part of it, but overall, what does a growth mindset in marriage look like?
Right. A growth mindset first is to know that the person you got married to 10 years ago is evolving, right? I've seen couples say, you don't really change. This is not the person I got married to. He has really changed. Yes, that's the mindset. That's a growth mindset. The person you got married to is going to change. The person who was 20, the person is not going to be the same when the person is 30 or 40 or 50. If that person is not changing, good or bad, something is not right, right? If we are not evolving, then we are regressing. So a growth mindset is for you to accommodate that change that comes along as the relationship is growing and expanding. And that should not be threatening. That should be actually a good thing for you to embrace, for you to find a way to work together. For example, when my husband started music, I had to learn, I had to find out what does this entail? How can I support him? It was not the person, the way he dressed and the way he was wearing bow ties and all kinds of stuff. But now he's a different person. That's a good mindset. So I wake up every day with a choice that because there's a change, I have made a decision to wake up every day to be married, right? A growth mindset is a decision to be married with the changes that comes along the way because people are growing, mindsets are changing, things are coming that you need to address and you need to deal with. So as a spouse, as a husband, as a wife, you need to find a way to have the conversation and to try to talk things through rather than avoiding it. The issue happens when we avoid having the conversation we need to have. If we avoid having it, then it's going to again get to resentment, conflict, competition, and all that stuff. So we must learn to find time to communicate as we are growing in a relationship.
A lot of marriages, Doreen, in the diaspora feel more like competition rather than a collaboration. Talk to me. Talk to these people out there in trouble. Drip, 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 headache, heartaches every day. What takes a couple to this point? That there are more two soccer teams playing against each other to win a game.
Yeah, just like the Bible says, can two walk together if they don't agree? You know, if they don't agree again, if they don't communicate and everybody's doing their own thing, it's not oneness. It's not working together, it's working separately. So once, I have talked to a couple where one person decided to become a doctor, the other person said, okay, you think because you're a doctor, I'm going to be a doctor too. It happens every day in America, right? To prove a point. What are we doing? What are we sharing? What are we teaching our kids? What are we doing? So somebody in the relationship needs to say, hey, let's pause and let's have a conversation. Then there's that one marriage or that one party that doesn't ever want, because of ego, because of whatever reason, they do not want to communicate. If you're married and you're not ready to have the difficult, challenging conversations, maybe you're not ready to be married, right? Because you cannot keep holding somebody's child bound in silence and with your ego, not letting them express themselves, not letting them talk. And emotionally, you're draining someone because you don't want to have a conversation. After some time, it's going to become extreme bitterness and resentment, and you come one day and you will not meet your spouse at home.
Here we God. Or maybe Mary down the street would have taken it.
Might be at your neighbor's house. It might be at your neighbor's house, right? So have that conversation. Don't go and knock at your neighbor's door. And
Look,
just ask.
let me say this. Learn to appreciate what you have, because if you don't, that that person you have and you don't appreciate could become somebody's prayer point.
Definitely. Because the grass looks really green on the other side.
All right. Doreen, forgive me. I'm going to ask you a personal question. What is the one thing you gave in your marriage that transformed it?
Patience. And my word, everybody that know me, people that I mentor, and being intentional, right? A lot of patience. I have to think through certain things before I really react, because 90% of the time we see things from our own perspective. We see things from where we are coming from. I have learned to pause. I've learned to think about, where is he coming from? What does he mean by that? Then I've learned to be intentional to find time for us to talk. It doesn't happen sometimes, but I've learned to be patient. Then the most important thing I know that has kept me is the choice to be married, the decision to be married. Because, like I said, if it's that I'm getting married because every day somebody is telling me that I love you, I would have been divorced 150 years ago, right? Because it's not every day you're going to wake up and say, "Oh my God, I love you. Oh, this is so cozy. This is so nice." No, it's not going to happen every day. That's dreaming. So it's the choice that I wake up every day I make to love this man, to grow this home together with a lot of patience and being intentional.
This is surgical. Now, can a family truly progress if one spouse is constantly pouring while the other one is collecting?
Just it's not sustainable. It's gonna lead to bitterness. I'm just being very honest here. If one person is constantly pouring, pouring, giving, 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 loving, 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 fixing, 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 talking, 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 of doing all the fixing thing, the loving thing, and all of that, that person is gonna get drained. They're gonna get tired. They're gonna get overwhelmed, right? And if the other person is just not doing anything, believe it or not, it will result to a lot of resentment. You get to a point where they don't care anymore, they don't talk anymore, and they'll just be there because they are there. So it's not sustainable. No.
My daughter in Texas told me once I went to see my grandchildren, we're chatting on issues like this, and she said that if you think that there is drama among Africans in their marriages in Maryland, come to Texas. Come
Why?
to, come to
I'm
Texas.
not moving to Texas then. We're going to stay
Don't
right
go
here.
there. But this leads me to the question, Doreen. What's at the root of these toxins in marriage? What is it? Because honestly, like you said, people may show off on Facebook, online, but there's so much drama. Drama in Bali, where I was born, they say this roof so now the cover thing there for house. So why this toxicity? What's happening?
So many different aspects, right? I can start with one.
Give us some of the aspects.
Yes, I can start with one like I talked about before. Our background, the way we were raised, is really affecting a lot of homes. We did not have that role model of a father or a mother that would teach us how to be a good wife or how to be a good husband. We are still hurting from the past. We have relationships with polygamous homes that things happen that you come to this marriage thinking that even it's your wife, this wife will not trust you. This wife is not good because I remember in back home, this happened, that happened. So the way you were raised is like 80%. If you don't heal from that, if you don't really put that on the table and deal with it, some people are running away from talking about things that hurt them. What do I mean by the way you were raised? There are certain things that maybe your past relationship, maybe it's your second marriage, right? Or your third marriage, or what happened in your household when you were younger. And it caused you pain. And the pain is still there. But you put the pain somewhere and you're avoiding it. That pain is in your subconscious mind. And the person that is going to suffer the most is your wife or your husband because you see them every day. And you're going to be, is you're going to be taking everything out on them. So if those internal struggles, internal demons are not dealt with, it's going to make the home really, really crazy. That's one. Two, ownership and accountability. I'm telling you, even finances. You have couples where one is extremely good with finances. Have you seen a couple that got married once? One the credit score was 800, and then another one was just 800 by chance. And when they got married, they are both just draining financially because one person doesn't have that ownership or even want to plan, right? And then they don't want to grow. They don't want to take that time as a couple to say, what are we lacking? Like we do in corporate America, do some gap analysis and remediate based on on the findings, what is happening in the home, right? If you're seeing that, oh my God, like I know when I talk to second marriages, they'll be like, my ex-wife did that, you're gonna do that too. This happened. You're revisiting what happened to you that you have not healed from. So you're taking that on this poor guy that you got married to, or this poor woman that you got married to, thinking that it's going to happen the same because you've not healed from that past trauma or that past experience. And believe it or not, I'll tell you, our African people, we don't believe in counseling. We don't believe in therapy. It is needed. It is good. My husband and I, we've gone for counseling, we've gone for therapy intentionally because people, we have blind spots. What are blind spots? Blind spots are things that you do unconsciously that is not correct, that is not right, that is hurting someone without you knowing that you have those blind spots. So when you go for a therapy or counseling session, they show you some of those things. Why is it important to do that? Because you have kids. And if you don't break that cycle right now to show them mentorship, to show them how to be a good mother or good father, those kids are going to be that exact same way. One thing I do every day is that my daughter, you're going to be a better wife, you're going to be a better mother, you're going to be a better employer of who you are. So I'm trying to emulate to show her how to be that. And that comes with not running away from your issues, putting the traumas down, talking about it, crying through it, dealing with the emotions, doing whatever you can to come out of it so that you can heal and be a better person.
You say Africans don't really like to go for counseling, marriage counseling. You talking about the men or the women or both?
I love the men so much. You'll be like, I love you guys. So you see, I'm advocating for Men's Day, but I think mostly the men, right? Mostly the men. The men don't, from my experience counseling couples, 90% of the time is the woman that brought them here. Or, as even for my own self, when I had to go for counseling with my husband, I'm the one that made the lead. I'm like, we going for counseling. We must go for counseling. Like, no, I'm not going for African man. We're not going for counseling. I said, no, we'll go do that counseling. So in general, the women, they don't mind. They want to go again, not because I just want to say, not because of the men, it's just the way we are built. A woman is built differently. We communicate, we express ourselves. Men, they are not as communicative as we are. They're very logical. And again, they have a part of ego that, from the foundations of the earth they came with. But what I'm just saying is that that is not a bad thing when you get a third party, somebody that you don't know. For example, I just talked about blind spots or how to communicate. If you don't go to someone that can do those analysis, give you guys some questions and you guys answer and they show you. And most of the time when you do their disc analysis, for example, and you give it to them, they'll be like, wow, I see why my husband is like that. Wow, I see my wife is like that. Now I see my blind spot. It helps you to be self-aware, to master self. If a wife or husband gets to a place where you are self-aware, you master yourself, you will know what will trigger, what will cause your claws to come out,
But
right?
but but Doreen, you're saying that you and your husband go for counseling. Somebody is sitting there scratching their head, but you are a counselor, and I know your husband. I know you. What are you going for counseling for? Am I seeing the wrong thing, or are my lenses dirty? That
Well, your
I mean,
lenses
I'm
are
asking
very
you as an example. Let me see if you can wipe it. Where's that wipe here?
your
Before I
lenses
went,
are very, very clean.
so
When we got married, my mother, blessed memory, our first wedding anniversary, she bought us a ticket to go to somewhere called Weekend to Remember. Okay. You're not going to counseling most not because you have a problem. You're going to counseling sometimes to find a way to strengthen your relationship, to ease communication, right? So and that's how I started my journey to become a marriage counselor or advisor. So my mom said, you know what? Because my mom was doing counseling when she was back home. She was a marriage counselor. So on our 1 year anniversary, just a little story here, she sent us to this whole retreat and it was amazing. The couples there were just good. We just talked about why it's good to do this. why it's good to reset, why it's good to go for counseling, why it's good to just do some check-ins. I say, hey, how are we doing? You don't have to go for counseling if you can do it by yourself. If you can sit and say, okay, right now some couples, right now we like necessarily don't go, but we have some a sheet that we see and say, hey, emotionally, how are we doing? Physically, how are we doing? Financially, how are we doing? Professionally, how are we doing? Business wise, how are we doing? Where can we change? If you can sit you and your spouse and do a gap analysis and see where the gaps are, and you're able to remediate that, that is it. I'll tell you, my husband knows me so well that, I think in November, he looked at me and said, I'm calling that I'm calling a 911, or you need help. You need to, you are not feeling well. Something is not right. Because we sit and we talk and we know where we are. We know how to assess each other. So going for counseling doesn't mean that you're going to get to a divorce route or something is happening. You're getting a third party to come and just have a conversation and talk to you and fix things together or go on a retreat. There's one coming up. I can share you the contact if you guys want to go.
Doreen, when I asked you that question, it was on purpose.
I know.
I wasn't directing it to you. I was extrapolating that to other people. You understand?
Yeah.
Because they'll sit there asking themselves, this woman sounds so good. Why is she going for counseling with her husband? And so I needed to clear the air on that.
Well, thank you.
I have two questions that I'm going to ask you after this transitional jingle. And then you will wrap up with some powerful points for people to take home. Things that people should not forget after watching this show. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Doreen Fobi-Takusi will be right back. You are watching Family Matters on Chat Night Africa. Now, hear this very well. Facebook deletes live broadcast after 30 days. This broadcast is going to be on our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube and search Chat Night Africa. It's there in high resolution or high definition. You can also watch it on our broadcast website. It's a stunning broadcast website. You'll love what you see there. The address is www.chatnightafrica.net. www.chatnightafrica.net. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have this transitional music, and I'll be right back. The Grassfield music of Bamenda Cameroon. You will love what you're about to hear. Let's go. All right, Hold My Hand, Never Let Me Down. That's by the Grassfield music of Bamenda Cameroon. You are watching a special edition of Family Matters on Chat Night Africa as we celebrate this year's African or International Day of the Woman across the world. My guest on the platform is Dr. Doreen Fobi-Takusi. Everybody asked me to bring you this question. Dr. Doreen Phoebe Takusi, what's the one troubling thing that is tearing a lot of African marriages apart in the United States and perhaps Europe?
I think it's miscommunication. I think it's really communication because the pressure here is different. I don't want to say high. It's different as compared to the pressure back home. And if we don't pause to really communicate that thing, that issue, and we just keep going, the gap is just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger again. So I think that we have to be very intentional. Schedule that time to communicate. Schedule that time to talk. Schedule that time to go out. Have a date night out to just go and sit and reassess where are we, how are we feeling, how are things going. It's really really key. If we don't talk, everybody communicates and feel connect, right? We have to find that time to connect and communicate. That will resolve a lot of issues.
When people are shouting, they're communicating. Talk to me a little bit. What are the roadblocks to good communication, effective communication?
Right.
And what is effective communication? How can you achieve that, accomplish that?
Right. One, I must say that we have to listen even if they're saying something that we are not in alignment with. And something that we can also do, we can say, can you, if I understand correctly, is this what you mean? Right? That just tells the other person that you're actually in this conversation with me. Because if you're just listening from your own perspective, like people say, you listen to respond, not to understand, the communication is not going to help the situation. So really take time, be a salesperson. They teach us in sales classes. You want to ask why, so you can understand where they're coming from and what the pain point is. Because there's a pain point, especially when somebody's really trying to communicate. Because the last thing you want to do in a relationship is to get to a place where your spouse says whatever, or they says that, or they don't want to even talk anymore. They let you do whatever you want to do because they cannot communicate, right? So you want to ask them, is this what you mean? Please practice that. If there's something you want to take back today, when you go home and you're communicating, remember that the communication is for them. They might be saying something that doesn't make sense. One thing you must validate because it's their emotions. Their emotions is true to them. If I'm mad, I'm mad. I'm mad to me, but I'm not mad to you. My mad might not be valid to you, but the truth is that I'm mad at that time. So you have to first validate. Once an emotion is not validated, that's communication stops. Because the other spouse is like, are you not saying that I'm not happy? I'm not okay. But the other spouse is saying that, why are you not happy? Why are you not okay? The first thing, when I say, I understand, I see why you're upset. So are you saying that you're upset because of this? You're not accepting, but you're validating their emotions. Same goal for kids. It goes for kids. I have five of them. So I'm very intentional to validate when they come to me with something. I don't brush it out. When you do that, we are talking about give to gain. You're not giving that love. You're not giving that support. You're not giving that concern, right? So you want to give that ear. For God so loved the world that He gave. So you want to make sure that you listen and you validate what they're talking about. That is the core of communication. Once you're able to do that, then you can go to the next step. Be okay to say, okay, I understand that you feel that way, but this is what happened. This is what happened. Quietly, with no emotions. There are two things I tell couple. You can respond and there you can react. Be intentional to respond without reacting, especially us women. Us women, we are good at reacting. A man will shut down. Men, they shut down easily because they are not as vocal, they are not as communicative as we are. I get the best out of my husband when I respond. They want to love us, they want to take care of us, but they want the environment to be conducive for that. And that's why, but from the foundations of the earth, they made us as nurture. We nurture the home, we nurture our kids, we fix the environment, we bring that peace, right? But when we start, and we start with the fighting. Where are you coming from? You've not called me the whole day. An invisible wall is immediately built around the man. Why? Because the man doesn't know how to respond without reacting. So they'll shut down. So be very, very intentional when you're communicating. That's why understanding your blind spots, knowing that this will trigger me. For example, when you get off this call tonight, go home if you're married, husband, wife, write down the last three conversation fights that you guys have. What was the trigger? What was the trigger? Was the trigger just a phone call? Really? Was the trigger just a run to the grocery store that your husband forgot something? Make him a list. Help him to succeed. Because we are giving to gain. When you give him that structure, when you give him that list, when you text him that reminder, because you know that he's not going to come home with that oil and you'll get mad. And that was the three last conversation. Now you put strategies and tools in place to support him to succeed. We are his help meet. Instead of saying that I'll see he'll come again without that oil, you're already preparing the place for tension. Especially when you have kids. You are their role model. So you want to do whatever it takes for them to see that mentorship at home. So let's help our husbands, help our wife by giving to gain. We are giving that support, we are giving that love, we are giving that encouragement. Guess what? We are investing in the foundation. We are building something in giving.
Dr. Doreen Fobita Kusi, you are a very educated woman. You are a businesswoman, successful businesswoman in your own right, but you are very respectful of your husband. I have sat like a Secret Service agent watching you guys, and you're just so humble to your husband, so respectful. Some women would think that you're making yourself a doormat. Why are you doing all of that?
It's because I know for sure that, first of all, I prayed, and God brought my husband to me, right? See, I had to hold my heart.
You are watching Voices. The voice you were just watching the voice of Doreen Fobita Kusi. She just fell off the line. It does happen. I'm going to ask her this same question when she returns on the platform. Let's have an interlude of music while waiting for her. We're soon to close the program, but I want the answer to the question I ask her. So stay tuned. She'll be right back.
Lord Andy of Africa.
You want to wait for any question? Okay. That's
Lord Andy of Africa.
You want me to log out and log back in? I don't think it's my system, but I can log out and log back in.
Okay, okay.
Chop Night Africa. Chop Night Africa.
Okay,
Chop Night
and
Africa.
that's
Chop Night Africa. Chop Night.
well, we were having some technical difficulty here. I'm not sure what the problem was, but we will see what beautiful. We are fine. We were having some technical difficulty here, but everything is okay. Thank goodness we can return to the broadcast. So, Dr. Doreen Fobi Takusi is going to respond to the question I asked her. Somehow we're having some strange technical problems right here. We will see. These things do happen. I want to tell you these things do happen when you are doing a live broadcast. So that's fine. It's happening at the end. That's okay. So I ask you the question. Talk to me. What is it? What is it? I was asking you the question, I believe. What is it that gives people so much trouble? You answered that part of it. I'm grateful for that. But before we conclude, you run a program for empowering women. Sometimes people see the International Women's Day as a day of rebellion. Is that what you are teaching women to do?
Definitely not. Definitely not. And I think that a woman's place, I think, like I said in the beginning of this show, the reason for this day is because in the past we were not as visible. Now we want to, celebrate all the good things that we are doing, right? I don't want to undermine the power of a woman, the value of a woman, the value added that the woman brings to the world and the society. So definitely, we are not here to undermine the place or the role of a man, because we need our men in the society. We need them to continue to help us build our homes, help us build our community. So it definitely doesn't undermine that one.
Beautiful. And at this point, I'm going to ask you to give us your last word before we conclude the show, Dr. Doreen.
Yes, and before I answer that, before the phone went off, you asked me something about why do I continue to love my husband and respect him through all these years. I think we're about 20 years in right now. And, like what the Bible says, when you love, he loves me. For God so loved the world that he gave. And when you give that love, you get, you need to get what they say. If you give a woman something, you have a baby, right? If you give a woman love, the woman will give you everything else to make you a happy being. So I received that love from him, so I'm reciprocating it to make him a happy being. My final word for this Women's Day is that Let us just continue to work together as women to find ourselves. Okay. Let us be true to who we are. Let us be true to know whose we are and where we are going. And remember that as a unit, working with our husband together, not against them. Women empowering women is not to be against our husband, against our in laws, against our family, is to work together as a unit to take the society to a different level. So let's continue to work together. Thank you, guys. I remember giving is gain. You're gaining substance. You're gaining a good relationship. You're gaining a good household. You're gaining a good investment with your kids, with your family, with your community. So thank you all so much for watching.
All right, and that has been Doreen Fobi Takusi on the show. Thank you. Thank you to everybody, Dr. Francis Ngulefak. Unfortunately, we've got to go at this point. Thank you, Irene Asanji. Thank you, Omar. Thank you, everybody. Sambasa podcast. Thank you, Mildred. So many people were watching all this show. Again, it's currently streaming on YouTube and on www.chatnightafrica.net. It will be on Facebook, unfortunately, only for 30 days. That's Facebook guidelines. I can't change that. So if you like this, I've told you where you can watch these shows in high definition. You want to see what's happening on our broadcast website. It's powerful, beautifully designed by Roger. And if you want to contact Doreen Fobi Takusi, get to me. You have a lot of you have my number. You can also go to chatnetafrica@gmail.com. I will connect you. This is also where we build networks, connections, and so on. Thank you for watching. Merci à tout le monde. That's how we wrap up this week's special edition of Family Matters on the occasion of International Women's Day 2026. I'll see you soon and very soon. Bye for now.
Jungle Mix.
Yeah. It's time to say bye-bye on Chat Night Africa. It's time to say bye-bye on Chat Night Africa. You know it's been a pleasure with you, my friend. I can't wait to be here again, to go all over and all over again. Gonna be there until the end. Bye-bye on Chat Night Africa. It's time to say bye-bye on Chat Night Africa. My young girl, ooh. We hope you had a great time watching Chat Night Africa.